Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and tonight I've got a pretty interesting video for you all. So, a couple days ago, I released my Affliction Warlock feedback video, and I'll be honest, I wasn't incredibly happy with that video. I wasn't really sure of a great way to display feedback for Affliction while also not sounding like it's too ranty and convoluted. We talked a bit about the left side of the tree with Drain Soul and Malefic Wrath being complicated, and honestly, it is still complicated. That spec is still a mess, but it'll probably change in the future. But tonight, I wanted to sort of shift gears a bit and have a bit more of a fun video, talking about something that we referenced in that video, and that is a different version of Affliction. A version of Affliction with Unstable Affliction, a lot of Afflictions here, as our Shard Spender, with a few other abilities from Legion AF and PFA AF and even WAD AF and things mixed in on top of some improvements to the actual tree that we have now. So while I don't think chances are exceptionally high this actually happens or anything, it was a fun video to make, and I think this build looks pretty cool. Now, in reference to the other Affliction video, I'll probably be making one large video for Destro Demo and AF with a text document and feedback spreadsheet and things all in one video over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, covering all 3 specs. I want to get that feedback out there as soon as possible as well, but I thought tonight's video would be a bit lighter, but a bit more interesting, and honestly, this spec looks awesome. I built it myself following the exact same Affliction skeleton outline they have for the AF tree now. Malakath helped a bit towards the end as well, but it's really cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of it in the comment section below. And I mean, like I said, I don't think there's a very high chance of this tree happening or UA being our spender again, but at the same time, I think this tree addresses all the holes and issues that it might have, and it's pretty cool. Okay, so off the bat, this program is called Talent Tree Manager, and I got it from GitHub somewhere. I'll put a link down below. It's an awesome program. It doesn't take too much setting up to actually figure out. Building a custom tree from scratch completely with no outline like this might take a bit more work, but it's really cool and super customizable with different options and things like that. It's really awesome. I have a link down below. So this is the current tree for Affliction that we have in Dragonflight Alpha now, and here is the tree that I have made with UA as our spender. So I'm going to try and compare and contrast the abilities I put in here. Obviously Rapture is here and UA is here. And I'll try and just talk about why I thought this would be a good idea, how it works with the spec well and everything else, and how it just suits this version of UAF compared to Malefic Rapture AF. So starting off here in the first row, obviously Unstable Affliction is our spender here. It is a shard spender. It costs 1 shard. Same thing, generates 1 shard if target dies. It is limited to 3. Now, there's a reason it's limited to 3. We'll get to that in a few minutes here, but previously it's had a limit of 5, things like that. It currently has a limit of 3 in PvP with the Endless Afflictions talent, I believe. We're capping it at 3 currently in PvE. I think it's a good idea overall, looking at how the rest of the tree flows. So we obviously have Seed of Corruption here into Sow the Seeds. There's a handful of abilities like Siphon Life AC, PS, Vile Taint, Drain Soul. I really didn't change a whole lot. I didn't think we really needed to. And they just sort of say the same goes for Agonizing Corruption. So this side of the tree is basically the same. It leads into Wrath and Agony, which is fine. And we have PS Vile Taint here, still spreading Agony with Vile Taint and the slow, still in the Sacrilege here. But back up towards the top of the tree. So we added a 3rd row here in the middle, sort of similar to how Destruction is. And this ability here is one I've wanted back for a very long time. It is Contagion, a passive. You deal 10% increased damage to your targets affected by Unstable Affliction. This was baked into UA, I believe, in Legion. It was a talent before Legion, I think in WAD and MOP. It's one of those iconic abilities that hasn't been brought back in a long time. You grab it coming out of UA, makes sense. UA into Contagion, there you go. Now, this leads down into Cascading Calamity or Fatal Echoes as an option here. Cascading Calamity being an Azerite trait from PFA, right? Basically, clipping on Unstable Affliction gives you more haste. I didn't add a percent in there because that obviously would be, something that needs tuning. You have that option, or you have Fatal Echoes. Fatal Echoes is a trait from your Ulathash weapon, or whatever it's called. Uthlesh, I forgot. From Legion. When UA expires, it has a 20% chance to reapply itself. That's a higher chance than last time, but it had a higher cap at 5 versus 3 this time around. I thought 20 was fine. We'll see where it goes. But there's synergy here between Fatal Echoes and other abilities over here. So this leads into Xavian Teachings. Same as you have over here in a different spot. Corruption's instant cast and deals damage when applied. You have ID in the same spot here as well. But you might be wondering, what is this? I don't know why there's a red box around it, but it is Rapid Contagion. The PvP ability that I've wanted in PvE for so long. 3 shards, instant cast, half a minute cooldown. For the next 15 seconds, it's 20 in PvP right now, but I trimmed the actual duration back a bit. All of your damage over time effects occur 33% more often. And I added the clause, this ability can stack twice, meaning you'll maybe cast one, cast a few set spells in between, cast another one. The actual bonus percent will stack, but the durations are independent of one another, right? This works well with like a dot build and single targets in like cleave settings, but chances are pretty high you're probably going to want to spam seed when it comes to AoE, because it's one shard versus 3 here currently, as like your big burst on demand AoE spender. There might be times where you want to like mash your Rapid Contagion in some setting, and that's fine because you can get access to both in this row here very easily. So we have UA as a spender. It does cost 1 shard. There's no clause in here, but I should add a 1 shard clause. This just forgot. We'll add it at some point. It is a shard spender. 1 shard. So 1 shard here, 1 shard for seed, with so and everything being here as well. We have 3 for Rapid Contagion. But if you talent down into Endless Contagion, reduces the shard cost of Rapid Contagion by 1 and the cooldown by 10 seconds. This goes from being 3 shards, 2 shards, and a 20 second cooldown. So basically, every 20 seconds you can get the buff up as long as you have 2 shards and it's active for 15 seconds, giving you a 5-ish second window of having no Rapid Contagion uptime, maybe cycling dots, refreshing Siphon Lives, Agonies, Corruptions, UAs, whatever, what have you. And there's this balancing act of when you have your PS or if you have your Soul Rot, if you're talented into it, every minute or so, or 45 seconds, of where you have more dots active. So you want to sort of spend more shards, more contagions during those windows, sort of mirroring how Malefic Rapture is now, but also being dot based and not being Malefic Rapture, right? So moving on from here, we have ID, Xavian teachings, all the same here. We know this stuff. Also, all these actual like raw points per section here are the same as in this tree. There might be a note or two that's different, but they all equal out to the exact same at the end. So, Drain Soul here, AC, Siphon Life here, PS, Singularity here, Vile Taint, Singularity, sorry. Not much really changed here. Still have Soul Tap here. This is probably going to get capped at some point during Alpha, but as of right now, it's still not. I've swapped Soul Flame from here to this side of the tree in an attempt to make it maybe a little bit tougher to get, but still like in a central-ish location, because this side of the tree did, with the Soul Rot swap, I swapped Soul Rot, basically this row here, and I put Dark Glare here. I wanted there to be a bit more of a reach for like just some of the larger AoE abilities, like, Soul Flames. I moved this over here, and I replaced it with Perdition. Perdition was a Legion artifact weapon ability, increases the crit strike damage dealt by Agony, Corruption, Drain Soul, and UA by 4%. And if you talent in a Siphon Life, it adds Siphon Life there too. It's basically an increased crit damage effect to your dots, your Drain Soul, whatever have you. And there are some Drain Soul damage amps down at the bottom, which is very cool. So we have Perdition here in place of Soul Flame. We also have an improved Grimoire of Sacrifice, which has needed to be changed for 20 years now, and it hasn't been for some reason. I made it go back to being the way that it was, increasing the damage of AF abilities by 15%. It could be modified, but this is the version we need of Sacrifice in the first place, so there is that. Fixed. I did change Soul Swap a bit to go back to the old Soul Swap. It allows you to inhale dots from one target and expel them on the other. Sort of like if you're in a council fight, you maybe could inhale, like, your PS, if you have it rolling on one target, and put it on the other. It should cost 1 shard. I forgot to add that here too as well. But it would allow for a bit more like synergy and a bit more like, I guess, more of a higher skill ceiling in certain spots. It's old Soul Swap versus the new one just applying Agony, Corruption, and UA. No PS, no Vile Taint, no Soul Rot potential there and like that. And it also could be a bit of a higher skill cap if you're in a Rapid Contagion window in cleave fights. So I changed that. I think, actually, let me actually add a shard cost to this. I think actually doing so, like changing this back to that, the old version of Soul Swap, makes it worth the Soul Shard cost. If not, it probably isn't worth, just because just how subpar it is right now, even worth taking really any setting. But having that reach makes it a bit more relevant, I feel, and worthwhile. So moving on from there, we have Sacrilash's Dark Strike, Withering Bolt, and Harvester of Souls. I really didn't change these at all. They're all the same. They're all fine abilities. The big changes come in the final row here. Number 1, Death Bolt is gone. Thank God. Number 2, Soul Rot has moved. Number 3, Haunt has moved. This is gone. Spoilers ahead. Number 4, Dark Glare is more central. So let's get into this. Number 1, Shadow's Embrace is here. It's moved from here to here. So I made a swap with like Soul Flame, Perdition, and Shadow's Embrace to add it to this row for more Drain Soul / single target relevancy. That is because An ability people have wanted back for a long time. Malefic Grasp is also back. Causes Shadow Bolt. Okay, so I added a clause to this because unfortunately Shadow Bolt is also part of our filler rotation if we don't have Drain Soul talented. So I added a clause that says causes Shadow Bolt to apply a vulnerability window that lasts 2 seconds. The target's vulnerable. There you go. Basically giving it the same amp that Drain Soul has. When channeling Drain Soul or during a vulnerability window, your damage over time effects deal 10% increased damage to the target. Now, that's not 20% like it was in Legion. That is because the ability below it, called Archimonde's Reach, don't judge me on the actual names here, chat, I'm sorry, or YouTube, I'm sorry. It's 3 in the morning. Malefic Grasp damage over time is increased by an additional 10%. So that brings it back to the way it was in Legion, with it being a flat 20% damage increase to dots when you have Drain Soul channeling, or you have, a vulnerability window from Shadow Bolt. So I had to add that vulnerability window once again because of hey, you have Shadow Bolt as a filler for some reason. But this, I think, works pretty well. Shadow's Embrace is like a single target kind of channeled ability, essentially. There's 2 stacks of this here, or 2 talents here, that applies a damage amp, feeding into a dot damage amp, feeding into a further dot damage amp. And what does this lead into? Because this terrible ability is gone as well. It leads into Death's Embrace, a cool ability that was around for a tier and then removed forever. Agony, Corruption, UA, City Corruption, and Shadow Bolt deal up to 40% increased damage on targets below 35% health. Damage increase is higher against lower health targets. There you go. I can read. It's Death's Embrace. It's your execute from back in the day. Now there is currently an execute clause on Drain Soul, and we do have Decimating Bolt in the class tree. That might need to change. I don't know. Got to run the math on it. But unlike Malefic Wrath, which is good it can be strong all the time, even though it's terrible to play with. This is only active in Execute when you're fighting a boss or a single target mob. It doesn't apply it to AoE or anything. It is a single target Execute based talent that ramps the longer the fight goes. I loved Death's Embrace back in the day with Malefic Grasp. The combo felt incredible. Lock was really good in Execute, and hey, it is back. So I have moved Dark Glare from over here in Zerbia to a more central location because I think Dark Glare is an ability that AF wants basically in every setting. Every build, whether you like it or not, Dark Glare is still a 2-minute cooldown, and it's probably warranted in basically every setting. Now, same thing, it's 2 minutes, it's Dark Glare. Antorium Plating is the same. I don't know what to do with this ability. I sort of like it if they buff the baseline damage of Dark Glare. And I like it because it leads into this, Eyes of Doom. I named this as well. Dark Glare will now cast Eye Beam on each target afflicted with Agony. Increases cast time of Eye Beam based on Agony stacks. And how do you stack Agony? You stack it faster through Writhen Agony and Agonizing Corruption. So this is going to be more of like an AoE kind of talent if you want it in Mythic Plus. You can just go into Dark Glare and forego these if you want it. It depends on tuning in the end, but this is like your Dark Glare is relevant in AoE. This increases the actual damage of it and duration, and this makes it more of a stronger AoE-centric cooldown in 2+ target settings, whether it be Council Cleave or Mythic Plus, Trash Packs, things like that. So I ended up putting Haunt in the middle here. I think it's like a pretty universal ability, and most builds do want Haunt to some extent. It's been played in most versions of AF for a long time. I think it makes the most sense. I got rid of this. Let's be honest, this is terrible. I sort of get why it's here. Like feeding AF or Haunt right into Haunted Soul probably is pretty OP. And that might need to be adjusted a bit here, maybe. But I put Haunt right into Haunted Soul, but I made Haunted Soul 2 talent points, and I made it a 5% increase in basically 5 and 5. It goes from 10 to 15 to 20 with 1, 2, 3 points added. That might be a little strong, but it's also sort of niche, right? You might want to Haunt in single target, but I mean, I don't know if you want to put 2 more points in this for a 10% damage increase when you can put it into like Soul Rot or other abilities over here that are pretty awesome as well, which we'll get to in a minute. So it depends on balancing and things, but overall it's a pretty cool ability in general. AoE Haunt's pretty sick. I put Soul Rot here a bit more off towards like the dot-esque centric base side of the tree. I think it makes more sense here. There's Decaying Soul Satchel. I did keep Creeping Death. I kept Creeping Death. I don't like the ability, but I kept it because this version is much more dot-based, with UA being your Shardsbender, or one of them, with Rapid Contagion, with Malefic Grasp, with Malefic or Death's Embrace, with Perdition. Dots matter again. I still don't like Creeping Death a whole lot, but I think it has more relevancy here and some synergy with like Contagion, things like that, depending how it actually functions and all that. So I kept it. Could go. I really don't know. Yeah. Kept Wrath and Consumption here. It's a good ability. A good spot for it in the dot base side of the tree. And for those who missed Dark Soul, it's back. Dark Soul infuses your soul with the misery of fallen foes, increasing haste by 15%. I think I nerfed this. I think it was 20 before in the past. Yeah, I think it was 20. Yeah, something like that. For 15 seconds, right? Now, I wanted to have some talents that amplify Dark Soul, because I mean, it's a pretty big commitment if you want it like in more of a single target build over here. You have to go all the way across the tree to get this and pair it with like Malefic Grasp and Death's Embrace and things, right? So this leads into, and for those who get the meme, they're gonna get it. Putrid Soul. Dark Soul Misery grants an additional 7.5% haste. Yeah, it's 30% baseline on retail now. It goes 7.5, 7.5. It goes from 15 to 30, basically. You want to build your Dark Soul from retail now, you got to go 1, 2, 3. So Dark Soul Misery leads into Putrid Soul with 2 points. And the final ability here, Gluttonous Soul. The duration of Dark Soul Misery is increased by 10 seconds. It lasts 25 seconds, which is why I trimmed 5 from the actual baseline CD. So, like, you have your row here that empowers Dark Soul if you want this. It's good with a dot build. It can be good with single target, but if you want it in the single target build, you have to commit for all the way from over here with Shadow's Embrace, Grasp, you know, Archimonde's Reach, and Death's Embrace, because, like, making your way across the tree is going to be sort of expensive. At the same time, if you're playing the dot build and want a bit more single target, you can go into, like, Withering Bolt and things, but you have to work your way over here to, like, Shadow's Embrace and Grasp and or Death's Embrace or Archimonde's Reach, things like that, to get that big single target damage increase. But you are sort of going into, like, maybe Dark Lair and Tauren Plating and Eyes of Doom. So, like, there could be a couple talents that change spots, like, in this tree overall. But honestly, like, I think this is pretty solid. There's, like, synergy with, like, I mean, obviously you can take Fatal Echoes here and hope on, like, UA. It's limited to 3 and costs 1 shard. Hope that your UA refreshes so you can get another Rapid Contagion in, like, a burst window with your PS. You can roll Rapid Contagion basically permanently outside that 5-second, you know, downtime window. It depends what you want to do. But the cool thing is like, you have options. If you want to go big seed spam at AoE, this is your spender right here. You got 3 seeds, big damage, it ramps your Writhe stacks, Vile Taint spreads Agony, Perma slows, Soul Swap is good again, not terrible in what form it is now, and the Soul Shard cost is justified. If you want to go, you know, into like a mix of like spreading a couple UAs and AoE for prio damage, throw some seeds, throw a Contagion in there, then throw seeds for more like just all around AoE damage, that works too. You have options here, right? You have options, and that's the cool thing. It's not like, you know, you have one side of the tree here, which this side for Shadowlands is really good right now. For Shadowlands, for Dragonflight is very good right now. I love this side of the tree, which is why most of it didn't really change in this tree. But then if you come over here with like Malefic Wrath and Death Bolt and Shadow's Embrace up here. Oh, Pandemic Invocation's gone. This talent's terrible. You have Pandemic Invocation, Shadow's Embrace, Malefic Wrath, Death Bolt, Nightfall's gone too, because like, it doesn't really fit anymore, honestly, I think, at least, right? Waiting for Nightfall procs with your Malefic Wrath, it just feels bad. That's like decimating bolts. This side flows so much better. It fits the dot profile. And I think overall, honestly, this tree looks really interesting. It's a mix of Dragonflight AF with Legion AF with BFA AF with Shadowlands AF. It's the best of both worlds, and honestly, like, you have a lot of options when it comes to building a single target in AoE, and there's not a whole lot else to it. So very quickly, if I wanted to build a single target version of this tree, I'd probably start up here in, obviously, UA. Points are all the same once again, 30-point limit, yeah. So UA into Contagion, into either Cascading or Fatal Echoes, depending if you want more RNG versus more consistency. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 in Writhe, 6, 7, 8 in Xavian Teachings, opening up this part of the tree. 9 in Siphon, 10 in PS, 11, 12 in Perdition. You can go 13 in Drain Soul, 14 in Soul Tap, 15, 16, 17, 18. You have 2 points here. That depends what you want to do. You can grab Sacrifice if it's worthwhile. If not, hey, it depends on tuning. You can grab Soul Swap here if you need it on certain fights, which is solid. You can put 2 points in Sacrilash's Dark Strike just for the baseline corruption increase, or Soul Flame if it's relevant. But as far as like general patchwork fights are going to go, this is probably your best bet. So you go 19, 20. Final row's open. So if you're in single target, I'm going 21, 22, 23, 24. This gives you Malefic Grasp, Archimonde's Reach, and Shadow's Embrace. 1 here into 25 Death's Embrace. So you have 5 points left here. And you can basically do sort of whatever you want. So if you want, you can go 26, 27, 28, 29. And you have 1 point floating around being Dark Lair. Bam! And there's your 30. There's your single target build. If you want to pull 4 points out of here, you can go into Dark. Let's say we don't want these. We can go down in here. We can go 1 into Haunt, 2 for a Haunted Soul increase, all that kind of stuff. You can grab your Soul right here for an extra dot. Dark Lair still there, and you're good to go. If you don't want Soul Rot or you don't want Haunted Soul, you can go into Antorian Plating. There's so many options here. It's so easy to build, and there's so many cool builds, right? Like, there's so many cool options in single target. And the cool thing is, you're doing dot damage again. Now, if you're looking at doing more of an AoE kind of build, it's sort of similar. You can go 1 in UA, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I go probably in here for like, I mean, you can grab Contagion. You're probably going to come back and grab it at some point. You can grab Cascading Calamity, or sorry, or Fatal Echoes, Contagion, whatever you want. I'd probably end up going somewhere in like Rapid Contagion for number 8, just where it depends. This row is open, so you obviously go 9 in Singularity or Violet Taint. You can go down to Sacrilege being 10, 11 for that big slow relevancy. Chances are pretty high. I want to go over here and grab Endless Contagion. If not, at least grab, you know, Xavian Teaching, so that's 12, 13. AC 14, obviously. Soul Flame 15, 16. Drain Soul being 17. And you have 3 points left in this row, so I probably end up going like maybe somewhere along the lines of like, you can go down here into Harvester of Souls for 18, 19 in the Dark Lair and open up this part of the tree, or you can go into Perdition here, right? So let's go, I don't know, let's go Harvester of Souls, 18, 19, 1 point in Perdition for the road if you want it, why not? That's 20. Bottom part of the tree is open, this shouldn't be here. So you have the option of like Dark Lair into Antorian Plating, that's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. You can grab Perdition if you want. Technically you have to open this up. Actually, you don't, which is fine. That works. You can go down through here. You have 2 points left at this point, right? Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So you got 2 points left at this point. And you can grab sort of whatever you want. You can go into Haunt and grab 1 point in Haunted Soul. You can pull a point out of Creeping Death, which probably realistically you don't really want, and throw it in here. And there you go. There's like a big Haunt AoE build with like Haunted Soul, Antorian Plating, Eyes of Doom, Summon Dark Lair, Soul Rot, Decaying Soul Satchel. If you don't want to go this far into the tree, or you don't want this weird like Dark Lair like kind of AoE profile, you can go over here. You can straight up grab Dark Soul and grab 2 points in Putrid Soul. And if you want to take a point out of Perdition for whatever reason, you can just throw it right on into Gluttonous Soul. And honestly, there you go. So there's a million ways to customize this tree. You can take points out of this and put it here in Soul Swap. There's so many ways to customize this build. And like the swaps we've made really haven't even hurt anything a whole lot in general, right? Like you still have your good AoE build. You still have a good single target build. You don't have Contagion. You don't have like Cascading or Echoes. But at the same time, like you have that relevant single target profile. Like Dark Souls, universal relevancy. You still have like Soul Flame. You can put points in Perdition if you want. It's still there. And UA being a limit of 3 with Rapid, and single target, you just put three ways up and stack your Rapids and you're good to go. It's not as strong as having like Contagion and, you know, Fatal Echoes or Cascading Calamity or other, you know, single target increases like Shadow's Embrace and Malefic Grasp, but it's still there and the build is still fun. And like I said a minute ago, it's still dot damage. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna be honest, I had a lot of fun making this video and making this tree. I didn't really plan on doing it tonight. It's like 3:45 in the morning, but I sat down and sort of just sailed down the rabbit hole, and here we are. I really want, like, I don't hate Malefic Rapture. I just feel like there are so many better options out there for more exciting versions of AF, whether it's UA AF, Rapid Contagion AF, Malefic Grasp AF, Dark Soul being mixed in. There's so many just better options that are more exciting and fun and engaging to play versus just smashing a Rapture and trying to drain Soul as much as possible. That's just so boring. I don't get it. This build's fun to me. I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a, I don't know, a bit more of a silly video, I guess. But there's always hope. Maybe we're in alpha. And maybe there's some hope that Blizzard does see it. Maybe takes some kind of UA Rapid Contagion Builder Spender into account. Fingers crossed. So let me know what you guys think of this actual talent build in the comment section below. Obviously, I can't show any combat, but you can use your imagination. If you have any suggestions, also throw them up. Why not? I will be, I guess, elaborating upon this build on stream a bit, talking about it here and there. So if you guys want to come by and talk about it as well, link down below. And yeah, while you're down there, be sure to smash the like and sub buttons. It helps out a ton. And I also want to give one huge shout out to my patrons one more time before we end the video. Thank you guys a million times for all support on Patreon. Really, truly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, there should be a link up here as well as down in the video description below. And over the next 48 to 72 hours, I will indeed have like the large Warlock, I guess, AF Demo Destro God feedback video out. Hoping that I can get it out before some big changes come in. But yeah, so stay tuned. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.